Hey everybody, I'm just going to go through a little January wrap-up, show you guys everything I read. I'm going to keep this as short as I can. This isn't going to be full reviews, those can be found on my blog and when I get around to it finally on my other videos on here. I'm going to use my wonderful little Owl Crate planner. It has all of my books written with my short little reviews, so it's easy for me to keep track, stay on topic, because, well, I like to ramble. So I started the month off with One Dark Throne by Kendare Blake. I absolutely love this series. There's still one more book that's going to be coming out. I think it's around September, so I have to wait, which is killer. But great story. I loved the twists and turns that were scattered throughout this. I loved the growth, the characters, the three main sisters. There was a bunch of growth in their abilities, bunch of growth in relationships with friends, and just a lot of cool stuff. So I really enjoyed this book. It was well written, lots of twists and turns, and a beautiful cover. Next book that I read was Eden Can Wait Season 1 by Ray-In Kwali. I probably butchered his last name. I was approached a couple months ago and asked to read this book by the author himself. So I gave it a try. I was intrigued, but I wasn't sure, you know. It was a sci-fi book, and I can be really picky about sci-fi. I can really enjoy them, or I can really hate them. And so I get a little nervous about them. I gave it a 3.5-star review. It was unique, it was compelling, it was definitely thought-provoking, made you think about what was happening, what was being said that wasn't actually being said, you know, behind the scenes. It was really interesting, and I liked the way that it was written. It's Season 1 and Season 2 is out, and each chapter is called an episode, so episode 1 through 8, I believe it was. So they're longer chapters than what you're used to, but also still simple. And I liked it. It was easy to break it up. Like, oh, I've got an hour. Okay, I'll get episode 1 watched here. Oh, I've got a half hour. I'm going to get episode 2 done. And it was easy. I knew what to expect time-wise, and it was an easy, quick read. So it's really easy to grasp my snippets here and there. And each episode kind of closed up, so you weren't left on a cliffhanger. So it was easy to, like, walk away. I mean, I still wanted to read more, but I wasn't left on a cliffhanger, so I was able to end the episode and move on with what I needed to do in real life, and then I could come back and finish it, and so I really enjoyed that. Next is Two Dark Reigns by Kendare Blake, and it's the third one in the Three Dark Crowns series. I read the first one in December, read the second two in January. Absolutely loved this series. I gave this a 5-star. I gave the second book a 5-star as well. So great books, really loved it. I have to say number 3 did pretty good at ending to where I wasn't too stressed out. If I had to wait, if I had read 1 or 2 and I didn't have the next book, I would have been like, I need it now. This one ended a little bit better where I'm not so anxious, but I still want to read it real bad. And this is my pretty little signed copy, so that's always fun. I found this hiding in Costco one day, so I snatched it up. The next book I read was for a group of book reviewers that I'm a part of called My Secret Bookshelf. They're on Instagram and Facebook, so you can look them up. It is called The Ritual by Mitchell Lwathi. I am probably butchering that name, and I apologize again. I gave that a 4 out of 5. It was definitely an interesting read. There were times it was a little hard to follow, but that was mainly my life at the time. And it's a dark book, but really interesting. I'm really intrigued on where this author is going to take the rest of the story. But it was a nice, quick read, and it's definitely going to be an interesting one. The cover really grabbed my attention and kind of sucked me in. So really just good. I liked Katrina, the main the main character. There's this virus that's sweeping through the world, and her town has somehow managed to stay safe from it, and but they need to find and uncover a secret, but that requires going out to where the virus has killed off a whole bunch of people. So she's putting herself at risk, and is it worth the risk? And just really interesting. Next, I read Hot Love Inferno by Nikki Blue, and I gave it a 3-star rating. 3.5, but really this is one I struggled with. I don't know if other book reviewers, you have this problem where the author has contacted you themselves, has asked you to review the book, and even said that once you review the book, they want to share it on their platforms or social media platforms, you know. And maybe I've learned a lesson where I'm not going to do that next time. If someone's going to share it on social media, then I'm not going to review that book for them, because it left me kind of afraid to put my honest opinions. But I did not enjoy this book. I did try to look past my thoughts on the type of book it was, because I just didn't enjoy this actual story. So, which is why I gave it a 3.5 rating, because it was still well written. It had some really good humor. It was like a dark British humor, which I did enjoy that part of it. There were aliens and ninjas, and it was definitely an intriguing storyline and unique, and I really enjoyed that part of it. But I would be reading it, and it was like, we were in this place, and then all of a sudden we jumped over here, and I have no idea how we jumped over here. And sometimes I thought, well, maybe my mind wandered, because sometimes even while I'm reading the words, my mind is not picking them up. I'm like off in La La Land. So I'd go back and reread, and nope. Well, then I found out that it was book 2 of a series, so then I thought, well, maybe I'm just missing pieces from book 1. Apparently this is a standalone, but it goes along with the story of book 1, but you don't need book 1 to understand and enjoy book 2. But I thought, well, maybe you do. So I got book 1. The author actually let me listen to book 1 on audiobook for free in order to review it. And I disliked that one even more, and it did not help answer the questions I had from book 2. The first book was called Escape from Samsara by Nikki Blue. I gave that one a 2.5. I said it was confusing. I said it was weird. However, the only reason I probably got through that book is because I listened to it instead of reading it, because the narrator did a great job and actually kept it entertaining, even though it wasn't actually entertaining, if that makes sense. So there's my first bad book review, and kind of a bummer. So it is what it is. Moving on. The next book I read was for my Facebook book club. It was our book of the month. It was Everless by Sarah Holland. Great book. Really, really enjoyed it. Time has been linked to blood and coins, and you give blood to be put into these coins, and basically like you give so many years of your life, or months, or minutes, or an hour, you know, depending on what, you know, your mortgage is, or whatever it happens to be at the time. So the poor, obviously, they die early because they have to give up so much more blood, and the rich are, they consume these coins. They stick them into drinks and they melt, and they're able to consume these coins and, you know, live a long time. And there's this old queen who's been living for a long time. And then the main character, Jules, she just goes on this huge roller coaster of a ride, and things get crazy, and she discovers there's these secrets of her past that she didn't know about. Her father didn't want her to go back to Everless, this palace. They already used to live there and had to flee. He didn't want her to go back. He kept telling her, don't go near the queen, she'll know who you are, but he never would tell her what it was. And then, trying to get into the vault at Everless, he dies. It takes blood to let you in, and he didn't have a lot of life left, and so he ends up dying. And so she spends the book trying to figure out why he died. What was so important that he died to get it? Why was it so important to avoid the queen? Well, the only way she can think of to do that is to go to the queen herself. There's the two boys, the brothers. One is good, one appears evil. But as you get further along, there's just all these secrets, and the boy that is one of her love interests, but he's engaged to the queen's daughter, who's an adopted daughter, and there's just really well done. Really enjoyed it. Make sure you check this one out. I gave this a 4-star review. Next is Evermore, which I started talking about. I'm not going to say too much more about it because it kind of leaked over what I was sharing. Is basically the whole series. I gave this one a 3.5-star review. It was good, just not quite as good as Everlast. The middle got a little bit boring, but the beginning was great and the ending was amazing. I loved how it ended. The very last book that I read was Galactic Mandate: The Scream by M.R. Richardson. The story was really great. It's clones. It opens up with this island of clones, and their like main person who has all this money to like run the island, it's who they're all cloned from. It opens up with them on a boat, and there's like this shark attack and all these clones are dying, but they have to save the original person since he's the one with the money that keeps everything running. And everybody dies except for the one clone, Mateo. The names are a little tricky sometimes. Mateo. He saves him, and through saving him, you find there's like they're paying off people who are attacking them, and there's just all this. There's like a big huge war going on, and they get sucked out into space. Not sucked. They get taken out into space with a crew who's actually supposed to be fighting. They're kind of like a nomad crew. They don't really have a side, but they pick sides based on who pays them, and they run errands for them. Well, they're off with this crew. Well, that crew gets kidnapped by the space pirates, and it's just really interesting. There's clones, there's aliens, there's space aliens, they're in outer space, they're on islands. It was really entertaining. I really loved the overall story. However, there were a lot of grammatical errors, and I am quick to forgive a book for putting the wrong there, or spelling a word, like a typo that didn't get caught, or space didn't get entered. I'm quick to forgive that because, you got like a long book. There's a whole bunch of pages. It's pretty easy to skip a few. This one had quite a few, and there were times where it was like I had to really stop. I was in a nice flow of reading, and then I had to stop and try to decipher what it really said because they were missing a whole bunch of words, or the words were like jumbled in a different order. I don't know if it was a translation. Maybe English wasn't the original one. I never did look up that information. So, because that's kind of what it felt like sometimes, like almost like English wasn't the original language, so they would like, how like, we say it's a red fire truck, but other places will like say fire truck red, things like that. It was almost like that, but then it would actually just be missing words too. So that kind of took away from the book, which is why I lowered my rating, and I only gave it a 3.5 star. Otherwise it would have been a 4-star book. There is more to the series though, and that I will probably check out when I have time. There is my January wrap-up. Thanks for watching. If you guys like that, please give it a big thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button if you want to catch more of my videos, and if you want to, ring that little bell on there so that you can be alerted whenever I make a new video. So thanks for watching, and I hope to hear what you guys read. Did you guys read any of the same books I did? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what your thoughts were, or, send me a link to your wrap-up video or wrap-up blog post, whatever you got. So I will talk to you guys later. Have a great night or day, depending on when I post this. So, bye!